Scrape armor, radiator grill guards for the C8 Corvette Z06, Stingray, eray, it doesn't matter. You do need them. We're going to talk all about them today and more. For those of you who are familiar with my channel, you're going to know I'm a big fan of protection on these cars. Whether it is the scrape armor radiator grill guards that protect the radiators, the Expel paint protection film that protects the paint, the ceramic coating that helps protect everything, the ceramic tint that protects the interior from sun damage. It doesn't really matter. I like to protect my investments. Obviously, scrape armor helps a ton when it comes to protecting those radiators, and it doesn't matter if you have a Stingray or a Z06 or an eray, you can get that front end radiator protection. But today, you are looking at the first person to have the radiator grill guards for the C8 Corvette Z06 or eray, basically the wide body cars. Scrape armor has obviously built these things and sent a bunch to GM for test purposes, but I am the first person outside of GM that gets to have one of these. And we're going to be installing them tonight using Scrape Armor's actual install instructions. So let's do it. So here they are, guys. Very similar boxing as the front grill guards, or really pretty much anything you get from Scrape Armor. It's always very professional, very Apple-esque when you unbox it. But what these are really going to do, obviously, they're going to fit into the side intakes on your wide-body C8 Corvette. They're going to fit perfectly, just like everything else does from Scrape Armor. But you might ask yourselves, why do I need something like this? And the answer really is kind of because anything that gets in that side intake ends up in your air intake. If you guys haven't seen the video I did yet where I cleaned out the Venturi intake filters, you might want to check it out because there was a ton of leaves, a ton of rocks, and a couple cigarette butts. Yeah, you really get everything in those intakes. Now, we're obviously going to do the install today, but before we get to that, I want to just point out a couple things about the build here because Scrape Armor, they do such a good job of just killing it. I mean, the things that they have done with this particular product to make sure that it is as OEM as possible, down to literally using the exact same texture, the same plastic, and the same color on these plastic trim pieces. I mean, look at this. The texture here, this is Scrape Armor's piece, and this one is factory. They're literally identical. Scrape Armor literally went out of their way to make sure that they copied everything. GM literally gave them the color, the texture, and everything so they could make it identical. That's how you know you're dealing with a high-end company. They do not want this stuff to deviate from factory enough for you to know that these didn't come with the car from factory. You gotta love that kind of attention to detail. So as of right now, Scrape Armor has an install video to kind of show you the instructions, but it's not to the public yet. So they're basically still fine-tuning it, but I'm going to follow what they've sent me so I can get this done 100% accurately because it is very specific. There's directions you have to follow in a very specific order. Not that it's difficult, but it's just got to be done in a specific order. Since I know the question's going to come up, guys, spoiler's not on the car. If you haven't seen the previous video, I'm actually swapping out the catalytic converters to Sport Cats from Soul Performance. That's all happening in the background. Don't worry about this area. We're focusing on that area. So coming into the driver's side intake area first. The first thing we need to do is remove what everybody affectionately calls the potato chip. Now, this is the area I was talking to you about earlier that the Scrape Armor part perfectly mimics. But to remove this, you can use a trim pry tool, pop it up from the bottom. I already have it semi-removed, so you pop it up, and basically underneath you're really only working to free that clip right there. So once the clip is out, the next step is to come in on the side here, and you can actually see two T15 screws right in this area here and right up there. I'm going to go ahead and use the handy-dandy ratchet from Scrape Armor that came with their radiator grill guards for the Stingray. This thing is really nice. It's super low profile. It'll allow you to get right in there, remove those screws, and then we're going to start adjusting some things down here. We're going to totally remove these T15 screws, take them out all the way. Once those are out all the way, we're going to go ahead and loosen the T15 right here. Now with this screw loosened and the other two up here completely removed, what we want to do is move the entire side blade around until the gap up here is consistent all the way through. This gap needs to be consistent for the next step. So make sure this gap is the same size from the beginning to the back. So basically just push in and pull out and then tighten this screw back down once it's the same. And as you can see here now, the gap between here is consistent. So you loosen this screw, you can actually reach in here and grab this panel and pull it towards you to move it. And then you're just going to tighten that screw back down once this gap is consistent. So this step is pretty important because it kind of lines everything up. Because there's so many of these cars made, it's a production car, these kind of tolerances or clearances are basically different in every vehicle. So this is the first step, is making sure that is parallel all the way through with the raised lip edge right there. Now, obviously mine is carbon fiber here. Yours is probably going to be carbon flash, but either way, we're looking at the same situation. The next step is to dry fit their potato chip cover here. So basically on the back there is some tape. We're not going to take that off yet. They want to make sure that basically this gap we opened up here is good enough. So we're going to place this where it will go just to make sure that it's nice and snug in there. And yeah, mine's going to be pretty nice and snug. It fits snapped right down in there. You can see it fits right up against that body panel. So we're ready for the next step. After we have verified that this clip is going to fit in there nice and snug on both sides, we're going to go ahead and remove it again. Like I said, that was just a dry fit. Then we're going to wipe down this area here with the included prep panel wipe. This is provided in the kit. And here it is. This is what's in the kit. We're going to go ahead and open this up, wipe down this entire area in here. Once this is fully wiped down and fully cleaned, you're going to take this towel, put it back in the bag, little baggie over here, because we're going to use this again on the passenger side. And as you can see, that panel is now wet because of that panel prep pad we just used. So we're going to grab a clean microfiber towel and we're going to wipe that down. So just wipe all that off. Next step is to take the door alignment tool, and it will actually say which side it's for, which you can see here it says right hand, which means we grabbed the wrong one. So we're working on the driver's side, of course. We need this one. So we'll say right down there at the bottom, left hand side. What this is going to do is allow you to start lining these things up to the point where you're going to be able to install this 100% straight. First step, we got to dry fit this. So basically you're going to kind of slide it down this area right here until you feel it right about there. You can feel it pop into place. So these are curved very specifically, so they'll only fit in one spot. You can see it's flat on the back, it's flat on the front. If I put it up here too high, it doesn't fit in there flat. So you can just slide it down here until you feel it right there. It is perfectly flat. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and use the little stickers that will stick on this device in that same spot. We'll put them here, here, and here, and it will allow this to stick in place so we can then move on to the next step. The stickers for this part are going to be in the hardware pack, which is in the front part of the box. It's going to come in a line like this. We'll just pop these little stickers off and put them on here in the indented spots. You'll need 3 per side. So just like that, you can see we have them in place. Now we're just going to kind of slide this thing down again, find where it fits perfectly, and then just stick them down. That way it's held in place. Now with this in place, we're going to go ahead and grab the door alignment card that also comes with it, and it's going to snap into these little areas here and give us an even better picture of how the bracket will attach in the back. This is the alignment card. You can see at the top it says towards the intake, up, and again left hand. These little holes here are going to snap into those alignment pins right there. But before we do that, on the back there's some adhesive. We got to take off all these little pieces of adhesive. That way, once we get this thing into position, we can stick it down. Kudos to Scrape Armor here. They figured out a way to make this protective layer on double-sided tape not take a million years to get off. I like it. So like I said, we're going to snap this on to these pins. And then after we put them on these pins, we're going to want to make sure that this whole edge there lines up perfectly with this leading edge here. And then we're going to stick down this part of the tape first. And as you can see, this lines up. So we're going to go ahead, push that down. And then with that down, we're going to then run our fingers all the way forward here on each one of these little fingers and make sure they're sticking down just like that. Now everything's stuck down and perfectly in place, perfectly aligned for us to put on the bracket. Next step is to come in here and we're gonna actually prep the two areas that the potato chip area is going to touch with the double-sided tape. And that is going to be right here and right here. Now we have to prep these with some primer. And this is basically adhesion promoter. So what you gotta do is just snap this guy in half, and then the promoter will actually start coming out the tip here, which is like kind of like a felt. And you're just gonna color a little area on here and here. And once this turns a different color, basically once it dries, you're ready to go ahead, peel the tape off the back of the potato chip area there. This guy right here, peel off this tape, and then we can go ahead and pop that back down into place. So crack this, paint it on here, wait for it to dry, take off this tape, pop it into place. Right here, up there, is the panel you're gonna hook this onto. So just like that, you can see it's kind of hanging there. It is hanging up in that area. And now we can just take off the tape and put it right up against there and stick it down. Then that bracket is done. So first we'll go ahead and remove the tape off the back. Then we'll go ahead and hang it in there again, push it right up against the back side of the alignment tool and push it down. And as you can see, it is stuck right up against the alignment tool. So we are ready for the next step. And that is going to be to just go ahead and remove the alignment tools here. So these shouldn't be stuck on there with any kind of crazy force. Next step is to actually grab the grill guard itself for your side. This is the driver's side, so this is the one you're going to want to grab. And the next bracket, which is this one here, we're going to actually install it like this. So we'll put these two little arms facing out. I just showed you installing the bracket on the right side of the driver's side screen, and I used the wrong one. So make sure you use the right one. These things should be kind of sloping downhill. Now back to the install. And then the two holes right here will get clips inside of them. In typical scrape armor fashion, man, these things are nice. The way these little clips just pop in there is almost satisfying. Listen to this. Now, if you ever needed to remove these, the beauty of this stuff, Scrape Armor designs these things so nicely. All you got to do is push this down. Push this clip further down, and it will literally pop out. Just like that. Then you can remove it. And just for repetition's sake, right back in. I love the Scrape Armor stuff is always so nice. Now, as if this wasn't interesting enough, as if this wasn't a nice enough kit, the next part is really interesting because Scrape Armor designed this in a way that there is less than a 2mm gap that runs around this entire area. So basically nothing's getting past these grills. But that makes it really difficult to fit your hands in there. So they designed this, a little grab handle. So what we're gonna do with this, you can actually see it's got a notch cut out for it. You insert it in the mesh and then pinch it down until it pops into the mesh like that. Now we have a handle. Because we can't get our hand in there, we got to use this. Freaking genius. Now, as you can see, we're pretty much lined up in here with these push pins, but you also want to make sure to get the edge in down here at the edge of this potato chip clip. Just so you guys can see what I'm talking about, on the passenger side, there's a groove that it will sit in to help stabilize the bottom part of it. And just like that, you can see the handle's still in there. We are resting inside the potato chip clip down here, and both bracket holes are lined up and ready for the clips. So let's go ahead and clip those in, and we're pretty much done. There it is. Now we'll reinsert the T15 screws over here. You can see the bracket is set up with the holes on the side there, and then we are good to go. So the support is at the bottom, and the 4 clips, she's not going anywhere. And you can see there is barely any gap around this. So this is going to stop all those leaves from getting in your intake. And it matches the honeycomb design of the front radiator grill guards as well. Overall, the same honeycomb shape in the back hatch area where the heat escapes. So very, very similar design language across the board, which is really cool. And it's functional. I mean, look at the design up here. It literally goes all the way up to that electrical connector, all the way around. There's literally no way you're getting any leaves or anything in there unless they're super tiny and can fit through there. But yeah, that's pretty much the install. I don't really think I need to show you the passenger side because it's going to be a lot more of the same. So there you have it, guys. Side intake, radiator grill guards from Scrape Armor. I'm going to go ahead and do the passenger side, but like I said, it's more of the same. We keep the prep wipe here to do the passenger side as well. All the alignment tools and everything are all separate. So everything in this kit is separate for the driver's side and the passenger side. You don't really share anything. We got more clips. All this mess is going to have to be cleaned up now, but yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the install. Very similar side effect to the side radiator grill guards that I got from the front grill guards, and that is they actually look really good in there. Like, look at that. I actually like the way that looks, and it's hard to see on camera as much as it is in person, but especially on a black car, man, that looks really good in there. So they're there to offer protection, but man, I like the way it looks. Now, if we come in here and look closer, again, look at the absolute dedication to perfection here from Scrape Armor. They fit in there absolutely perfectly with almost no gap. He said less than 2 millimeters. Man, I don't even think that's 2 millimeters. I mean, those fit tight. Huge thumbs up to Scrape Armor, man. They are absolutely nailing these kind of products. This is fantastic. Now again, guys, if you don't know this, Scrape Armor is the only company that is actually licensed by GM to make radiator grill guards for the C8, Z06, Stingray, eray, soon to be ZR1, it doesn't matter. Scrape Armor is the only one licensed by GM. What that means for you? These won't void your warranty. I know we've been talking a lot about warranty on this channel lately, but these will not void them. They can't. These are literally GM offered products. You can actually outfit your car with these. So if you build your car from scratch, you can actually say, hey, I want this Scrape Armor radiator grill guards and the side intake grill guards, and the dealership installs them before you even pick up the car. Yeah, they're warranted. That's fantastic. These things are super high quality. They're going to protect those radiators and the side intakes, and they're going to stop leaves and gross things from getting in your intake, which of course will rob performance and make you have to clean those filters more often. So again, big thumbs up to Scrape Armor. I think that's going to do it though, guys. So if you want to check out the official install video, I will link it in the description down below when it's available. Until then, go grab these things because there's not going to be many of them. There's a batch available right now, but after that batch sells out, they won't be available until after January. So if you want them ASAP, go grab them now. I'll link them in the description down below. Anyway, guys, that's it. If you liked what you saw, smash the thumbs up button. Let me know you're liking the content. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And as always, guys, stay obsessed.